Thank you, Brittany. West Maui began opening its doors to tourism despite a lot of concerns and pushback from residents. The county council also voted in favor of a resolution to delay the reopening. So why did the governor continue with the original plan? He joins us now with that and much more. Governor, thank you so much as always for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
So why did you keep the October 8th date?
My job as governor is to work on the health and safety of the people of Maui and also Oahu and the whole state. We have to gradually, gently open to care for our people. The measure that was passed would otherwise prevent us from healing. We also have to pay for fire. We have to pay for police. For perspective, I'm fighting every day for hundreds of millions of dollars for Maui's recovery, ultimately housing, infrastructure, putting wires underground, all these things. And so therefore, it's my job. It's my job to protect the people and the economy of our state. Finally, opening, as you know, on October 8th meant very small numbers of people. Let's have a reality check for those who cast that vote. This vote was about their perception, but really I'm talking about November and December. 80% of the economy on Maui is somehow driven by tourism, and that is what will ultimately take care of our families. But I am sympathetic and I'm listening to the people of Maui. I'm just also making sure I care for them.
You said you're listening to the people of Maui. Some people claim that the community was never consulted about the reopening date. What is your response?
It's not fact. I called people directly, even victims at their homes. I had a community meeting with not just the business leaders of the community who employ all of the people of Lahaina before they were displaced, but also some of those people themselves were victims. I went to Maui 20 times in the first 60 days. So that's just political rhetoric. It's okay. I'm not interested in that kind of thing. I'm interested in caring for the people of West Maui and across the entirety of Maui also. I want you to know that about 85% of the people we talk to, and that includes the thousands and thousands of union workers that work at the hotels, that work at small businesses, they wanted to go back to work. Anyone who is not ready to go back to work, I respect that. I understand that they don't need to. I'm going to continue to make sure that unemployment benefits are going. I don't know if people are aware, 8,773 individuals were newly unemployed because of the fires. They need to heal. They need to provide food for their families. They're going to have to pay for housing. It would actually be cruel for me to keep things closed. Now, however people may view this, they still can take time. They can recover at their own pace. But to do that to the other people would not be fair. I can tell you that most of those almost 9,000 people need me to stand up for them. They need that. So when someone sends me a petition, I respect it. When they click on a button on a computer, I understand what that means. But at the end of the day, the entirety of Hawaii will struggle greatly if we don't begin to recover. We learned that from COVID when we were ambiguous about our beginnings. And that was just a beginning on October 8th. When we were ambiguous about our beginnings, it crushed us for many months. And that would mean less money for schools. I got to rebuild a school. Less money for the houses that have to be built. It's really just being responsible. So, you know, I appreciate how politics works these days. I probably have more experience than anyone at that.
You hit a key word there, beginnings, because it is a phased reopening to tourism. What's the next step?
Over the course of this month, the mayor will continue the phasing, and that's important. I think that if you see what actually happened, it was a tiny trickle. Just a tiny uptick in people coming. And those individuals are ones that have been coming for decades to timeshares and the like. So I understand that people have been traumatized. In fact, I think some of the people on the council have been traumatized, and that's okay. I understand that. But this tiny trickle is going to be pretty insubstantial, even through the end of the year. It's going to take a long time to rebuild. And we will give the people of Lahaina time to choose what they want to rebuild. I'm doing things like making sure that people don't steal their land, making sure that we get tens of thousands of dollars in individual grants through temporary assistance for needy families. All those things are going to help people survive. Having political fights, not so much. So I think people need to realize that we have to do better. We have to start doing things in our state instead of saying no. You notice what's gone on in the last few months. We had that big housing debate. Certain groups just don't want to do any housing. They tried to block it, demonize my housing director. They said no. What would that do? It means local people don't get housing. People demonize the reopening, and I mean gentle, small reopening of West Maui. What will happen? Local people will go bankrupt and they'll have to leave. These are not positions that will help local people.
Do you have any comment, or what would you like to say about the State Commission on Water Resource Management reinstating Kaleo Manuel?
It's a personnel matter. I have a lot of respect for Mr. Manuel. I'll say this. Our state needs to do a better job with our water plans. We're going to need an updated water plan, and I'll be asking for that in the coming months, because as we drain Red Hill, we have to determine what's in the aquifer. We have to determine how much we can actually devote to building new houses. People of Hawaii elected me to deal with housing and affordability, make sure they have health care, deal with homelessness. We can't keep saying on homelessness, not in my backyard. On housing, we're not going to give you water. On the economy, we're not going to open. That doesn't help people. Most people just need a little help, and then they need us to get out of their way so they can thrive. That's where I feel we have to go. And so the water conflict had nothing to do, as far as that gentleman's position, with these larger issues. But I'm going to demand more of my Water Commission and my CWIRM director. I'm going to demand from everyone in our government that we start saying yes to moving forward for our families.
Monday, students return to Lahaina campus. Is everything set and everything cleared for that? And any updates?
Could be a little bumpy, but I think that's also part of the healing process. Kids need to get back to school. I can tell you that the air quality's been good. We've mitigated any of the environmental health concerns. We've been on top of that from day one. Special thanks to my Department of Health and Environmental Health. A lot of good things are happening. So again, that's a way for people to heal. There are others that said we shouldn't open the schools for a long time. People need to get back into their lives the best that they can. And if they're not ready, it's okay. We'll be understanding. But conflict is not going to help our people, especially in our local community that just suffered a terrible tragedy.
All right, Governor Green, thanks as always for stopping by and addressing the issues of Hawaii.
One more thing. Happy birthday, Sam. Today is my boy's 13th birthday. I love you, buddy.
Happy birthday, Sam. He's officially a teenager.
Yes.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Governor.